of Deep Cover Baker Workshops, Elizabeth Brinster from Chesapeake, Virginia. And joining Elizabeth is super seller Susan Warshay from Shaker Heights, Ohio. So glad to be with you here today. Together, Susan and Elizabeth have sold more than 750 magic pots. And I want to give some props to Susan, who would have been out here in the audience to celebrate 1.4, am I right? $1.4 million in career sales. So let's celebrate that. Okay, let's start off with you, Elizabeth. You're the pioneer here. What is a deep covered baker workshop?
It's just like a cooking show, except for we prepare multiple recipes in the deep cover baker.
So, why did you decide to offer them?
Well, I had two good reasons. I needed to fill my calendar. It looked like a snowstorm in Denver. And then my second reason was that I had customers when I was asking them what they were baking in it. And they would say, oh, chicken fajitas, which was my demo recipe. And then a lot of them were saying it was still in the box. So I knew that I had a problem and I needed to fix it.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that it's still in the box, do you? So, what's the goal of a deep cover baker workshop?
Well, I do these because I want my customers to have a good impression of me and the pampered chef. I don't want them to open their cabinet door and say, I bought that. Boy, that was a mistake. And I want them to see the versatility of the baker and taste the variety of the foods that are made in it, especially meat and cooked in the microwave. I also want people to fall in love with our Dutch oven rock crock because it goes in Mama's favorite place, the dishwasher. When someone falls in love with the rock crock, I have a hot booking prospect. And of course, I want people to fall in love with lots of products so that they book a show so they can get them free or that they purchase them outright.
So you had 4 really good reasons to host it. Susan, why did you offer a deep cover baker workshop?
Well, at the beginning of the year, I had a hole in my calendar, so I figured I'd try a workshop, and I did it 10 days later.
So who did you invite to come?
Well, first I created a Facebook event, and I invited all of my Facebook contacts, and I told everyone to bring a friend too. My event banner included 9 photos of deep cover baker recipes, and it emphasized that guests would learn how to get healthy dinners on the table fast. And I also took the wording from my Facebook event, and I pasted it into my email newsletter, which I send out to all my past hosts and customers. And this is the wording I used.
Can you read that?
Make dinner magical, not maddening. A deep cover baker workshop will help you learn how to get healthy dinners on the table fast. Have it? Want it? Don't use it? Don't know what it is? Learn how to make the most out of dinner time with this simple 2-hour workshop. Be prepared to be wowed by the magic pot from the pampered chef.
Great wording, isn't it? Lots of exciting words in there, magic pot. But did you notice what Susan forgot to include?
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. Thank you so much, Virginia. But the first time I advertised my workshop in my email newsletter, I forgot to include the date and time. Pampered, not perfect. But it actually kind of worked to my advantage because I got a lot of responses from people who were interested in the workshop but needed to know what date and time it would be. So I responded to all of them, and I kept a list of those who expressed interest but couldn't come. And for my next workshop, I still advertised to my entire customer base through my email newsletter, and I posted it on Facebook, but I also had a target list of people to call. Now, I am not suggesting that you purposely leave the date and time off your publicity for your email newsletter, for your workshop. You don't have to mess up like that. But it would be a good idea to post something on Facebook or in your email newsletter to gauge interest in advance. I've been keeping a list of everyone who's expressed an interest in my workshop, and I'm doing another one in August because my customers are asking for it.
Customer demand, but that is not a training tip. Do not leave off the date and time. Okay. Elizabeth, how do you market your workshops?
Oh, I also post on Facebook too. And when I'm doing my cooking show and I'm demoing the baker, I always say I offer a free, fun, food-filled workshop where the spotlight is on the deep cover baker. Because I want my customers to know that my service doesn't end with the purchase of the baker.
I think those are magic words for the Magic Pot. Free, fun, food-filled workshop. Because they're investing in a more expensive item, and this really gives them assurance that you've got them covered. So, Elizabeth, what does one of these workshops look like? What do you do?
Well, you know, there are 3 parts to a deep cover baker workshop. There's the intro. I thank everybody for coming. I ask them by a show of hands who has the baker and who doesn't have the baker. And then I ask them to tell me who they are, and whether they own the baker or not, I ask them to complete this sentence. If my deep covered baker could talk, it would say. There's some scary answers there. Finally, we get to cooking, and then I do a wrap-up. I review the tools we use, and I tell everyone about a free gift purchase and remind them about the benefits of hosting a show. I close my deep covered baker workshop by sharing the business opportunity, typically using the ticket game.
So you're using a really strong close here. Now, let's focus. Let's go back to the cooking segment, that middle magic part of the show. Susan, you like to do this cooking segment how? What style?
I like to do the cooking segment station style. We prepare the recipes station style around my dining room table, and I encourage the guests to move between recipes and stations so they can see and use a wide variety of our products.
Okay, Elizabeth, how do you do your workshops?
Control freak style. I like to do mine demo style. I like to show off the baker's versatility by making the artisan bread, a meat, typically the pork tenderloin or a whole roasted chicken, a pasta dish like the summertime spaghetti, and then we finish up with dessert because everything's sweeter with dessert. And that's typically something like the deep dish peach pie or maybe bananas foster.
Okay, Miss Control Freak, I want to reassure you, remember what Doris said. If what you're doing is working for you, and this is working for you in your workshop. But listen, talk about all this food, you're making me hungry. So what are some recipes that you might make at a workshop?
Well, you know, there are many options out there, and especially great entree recipes. Some of the ones that I'd like to recommend are the pasta primavera, the chipotle chili cornbread bake, chicken bruschetta pasta, rush hour fajitas, chicken parmesan soup, and barbecue pork tenderloin. I especially like these because they have a relatively short cook time.
That's a really important tip, and you love those little barbecue pork sammies. I know that's one of your favorites.
It's a twofer.
A twofer.
You cook the pork tenderloin and you eat one for dinner, and then the second one you chop up and you add sweet baby raisin to make our barbecue sauce, and then you get a 2 for dinner, cooking once.
I love it. Cook once, serve twice. There you go. Susan, you've got some tips for recipe selection too.
Well, as you know, Virginia, I only do vegetarian recipes at my shows. If you or your guests have dietary restrictions, you can absolutely still do a workshop. The first thing you want to do is pick a recipe that meets your dietary needs. And then the key is choose recipes so that you can prep one while the other is in the microwave. Unless, of course, you have more than one microwave, which I do not. And then I also prefer to pick recipes that don't need to go in and out of the microwave multiple times.
Now, I know you said you cross-sell lots of other products when you're doing the workshop, because you're there to sell and get bookings and recruit too. So what are some of the top products that you would sell at one of these workshops?
Well, I go with the meat tenderizer and the chef's tongs.
And of course, you have to have the salad chopper and the silicone scrapers.
The deep covered baker cookbook. And everybody likes an assistant in the kitchen, Manuel, or the manual food processor.
You have to have cutlery, your knives to cut up your vegetables and meats, and of course you have to have cutting boards and cutting mats to go with those.
Our cooking tools and no deep covered baker workshop is not complete if you don't feature some of the rubs and the seasonings.
You have to have garlic, so you need the garlic tools, the press, the peeler, and the slicer. Of course, you need the microwave grips and the silicone oven mitts to get your recipes in and out of the microwave and the oven.
Absolutely. And the pocket thermometers so that we can make sure that the meat is at the perfect temperature.
Oh, and don't forget, you have to be able to wedge your veggies, so you need the veggie wedger.
Well, I understand that you both have done these workshops in your homes. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. I do it because of the convenience, because I have multiple bakers, because I love this product that much.
So how can a consultant who doesn't have more than one covered baker do one of these workshops?
Well, there's a couple different options, Virginia. First of all, a consultant could ask customers to bring their bakers, and they'll probably love that it'll get more seasoned as a result. Or a consultant could borrow a baker from another consultant, or Or what some of my team members have done is team up with each other and do a workshop together. Another idea is to bake the artisan bread in advance, and that will free up a baker to use during the workshop. And like Elizabeth said earlier, it's also a great opportunity to show off the rock. A lot of the recipes are interchangeable and can be made either in the rock or the deep covered baker, so I recommend to use both. It's a great opportunity to show them both off.
Great idea. So it's doable, even if you don't have a bunch of bakers. Elizabeth, you said that you got an unexpected benefit from hosting these shows in your home. Tell us about that.
I did. You know, hosting at home puts me back in my host shoes. You know those feelings of, is anybody going to come? What if they all come? Do I have enough food? Is my bathroom clean? So when I host coach, I'm really in tune, and I can speak from experience. I can say, I know exactly what you're going through, but I'm here to be with you every step of the way.
Absolutely. I hosted a show recently too, and I went through all that, and I'm thinking, yeah, it really does put you back in touch with those host coaching. So would you like to hear some of their results? Susan, tell us what happened at your last workshop.
Well, at my last workshop, I got a new recruit, and she's here today. And I booked 4 cooking shows and 3 catalog shows.
Okay, Elizabeth, let's hear your quick report.
I've booked 18 cooking shows for my workshops, and I have a recruit leave coming to mine on the 30th.
Excellent. Let's finish up with one piece of advice from each of you. So Susan, what tip do you have for someone who's thinking about doing or want to jump into doing a deep covered baker workshop?
Well, the first time I did a workshop, I think I overemphasized that attendees were not obligated to buy anything because this was simply a service that I was providing for them. Well, at my next workshop, I did not hesitate to promote sales and bookings, and I got that. And I think the key was that I reconvened the guests at the end for a strong closing. We reviewed the products that we used, they shared what they liked best, I reminded them of the free gift they could get with their purchase, and I reminded them of the opportunity to host a show and get what they wanted for free.
Thank you. Elizabeth, what's your one tip?
I would say impromptu scheduling works best. People know what's going on in their lives in the next 7 to 10 days. I would say go home, schedule your workshop, don't overthink it, and just do it. I'm advertising my July 30th workshop on Facebook by posting some teasers. This is one of them. Learn how to make this great meal. Don't heat up your kitchen. And I'll put a picture of, like, say, a chicken in the baker and some stuffing. So tease them a little bit.
I wish I lived closer to Chesapeake. I'd be there.
I'd feed them.
Well, this has been so exciting. I hope you've gotten some wonderful ideas on how to do these deep covered baker workshops. And thank you, Elizabeth and Susan, for sharing